There will be a Women's Royal Rumble on January 28th. We had a sneak premiere of Hideo Itami and tag teams. We got all the tag teams right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yes, because you know we got Hideo Itami on Raw, so we got to play this because he's going to 205 Live, so we get it tonight.
Right. Not to say that he won't earn the privilege of being the intro to our AfterBuzz Raw in the future, but tonight is for Hideo Itami.
There we go. That's why we are opening the show with him, and welcome to December 18th. This is going to be the final Raw after show of 2017, and what a Raw to have this last one be. Oh my, I mean, I lost track of how many tag teams we had. It is extremely women strong from the evolution of the Divas Revolution into the women's division into having a women's Royal Rumble match. And I am joined with an incredible panel of hosts right here. To my far left, you have seen this lady on TMZ, Balor Alert, Up Rocks, and you might remember her from the Mae Young Classic. We did that together, the after show here on AfterBuzz TV. TK Trinidad.
Hey, how are you doing?
All good. I'm a holiday person.
No,
so
the red is just very stunning.
Oh, thank you. I'll take it. And sitting next to her, you know him. You know True Hobo. He's wrestled and worked with New Japan, NXT, Championship Wrestling of Hollywood, Arizona, just about everywhere, and he's here right now. True Hobo.
Well, happy to be here. It's been a long haul. I did Arizona on Saturday. A lot of very interesting things coming out of that. Please keep hooked to my Twitter at True Hobo. You're going to see some stuff you haven't seen before from yours truly.
Nice. Love it. But yeah, for this Raw, we were in Providence, Rhode Island. And yes, we are 6 weeks from the Royal Rumble. That is happening on January 28th. And, well, I guess let's just jump right into it. I mean, we started off with Kurt Angle. It looks like he has an announcement of who's going to be facing Brock Lesnar. Because remember, we're coming off of Braun and Kane getting a double, count out from last week. So neither one of them really... I
mean, neither of them a particular favorite against Brock Lesnar, but at the same time, both earning the right and the privilege to face the man, having had a double countout. And Kurt Angle 100% cemented that tonight. He said himself that there will be a triple threat, and I called it.
Yeah, I remember us speculating about this. I think it was last week or the week before. You and Johnny were like, yeah, there's going to be a triple threat. And I'm like, I don't want that. And it doesn't matter what I want.
Yeah, why don't you want that?
Because I want Brock to go one-on-one with somebody. I actually want Brock and Samoa Joe. That's what I want to happen. I think that would be a really good drag out.
Happen already?
Kind of, but it didn't really get the time that I felt like it really should have gotten. But for with Kurt Angle, yes, he was, I'm announcing who's going to do with Brock Lesnar, and then Braun Strowman interrupted him. And he says that he was the only one left standing, and that's why he should be Brock Lesnar's opponent at the Royal Rumble. And then he's interrupted by Kane. Kane comes out and says that he's caused more destruction than anybody else in the WWE in the last 20 years, except for Undertaker, of course, his brother in destruction, of course, and nobody steps in front of him. And then Paul Heyman comes out and he says, you know what, we're not having this conversation without input from your reigning and defending Universal Champion, and out comes Brock Lesnar.
How lucky we are to have His Eminence grace our presence, the champion that never defends.
Ooh, salty. I like it.
Hey, just saying.
Yeah, and then yes, there's going to be a triple threat match, and we have a little bit of taste of that with Kane trying to immediately go after Braun and Brock, and of course, Brock ends that with an F5, which Kane pops up on. So
down but not out.
Yeah. So we do have
Kind
that.
of excited about this match. I think
Yeah?
it's going to be a good one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Just the biggest men in WWE just swinging at each other full force. Honestly, I like big man wrestling. I look forward to it. I think finally Brock Lesnar has an uphill battle as far as at least weight class is concerned. He's outclassed by both of these individuals, so he's got kind of a hill to climb.
Yeah, and I will say something. I really enjoyed Braun's match with Big Show way back when, when
yeah.
they destroyed the ring. I think this is the first time the ring was destroyed with Braun in it. I think there's been like 2-3 other times since then, yeah. And agile, because you don't expect it from the big men, from the refrigerators walking around. And I appreciated that. So for that, then I guess this, 3 mountains clashing against each other, it's going to be a heck of a ride.
Yeah. Thunder will roll.
So we have Seth Rollins, and he's waiting in the ring for Samoa Joe because he's supposed to have a match with him. But then, look who comes out.
God, crybaby. I can't stand him.
Mr. Jason Jordan.
Oh, just shut him up. Jesus. it's terrible.
He's been waiting 2 whole weeks to have a match with Samoa Joe that he's been asking Kurt Angle.
Calling him Kurt Angle. Calling him Kurt Angle. I call him Dad. You feel the little bit of separation in there, at least emotional.
Yeah.
He's not as close to him as he once was because now he's not getting everything that he demands so easily.
Yeah, he's not giving him candy every time he cries for it,
That's
kind
right.
of thing. I like how they're progressing with this because it does annoy me, and I like that I'm feeling something when it comes to with the Jason Jordan thing. So I want them to keep on turning the volume up on it because it's like nails on a chalkboard, and I want more of it.
The only
because
thing
of
I
that.
like is his shorts. That was the only good highlight about him, period.
He's a hoss. He's got power where it counts. It's in the legs, it's in the buttocks.
And
The wrestler with the largest butt is probably the most powerful. I myself have got quite the bubble going on. I work very hard. It's there.
Oh, yeah.
If I were
okay.
to stand, there's a bit of a show.
I mean, you can if you want.
well,
you give
I
us
mean,
a little butt flex.
y'all
Yeah.
would have to pay
for the holidays.
it. I don't just drop my drawers for free.
It didn't have to be a drawer drop.
I
That could've
know, just been
you
a-
Well,
just
under
went
it, I've
there.
got my wrestling trunks. I'm
Oh,
always
okay.
ready to go.
Oh, okay.
Always. Because you never know when a match is just going to break out. Somebody's
never
going to pay
know.
you. Going to be a
never know.
referee. You're going to go.
So how much do we have to pay you just to drop your trunks then?
Well, we can discuss that a little bit later.
Indeed. So, and Seth even tries to give some words of wisdom, be like, hey, how about you slow your roll for a second? Yeah, this match is already going to happen. And I love Joe comes out, and can I just say he was extremely Negan in this moment where he said, you got me feeling like the belle of the ball and all the popular guys want to dance
Oh,
with
I
me.
love that line. That was
That
great.
was, Samoa Joe. Yes. And he proposes that Jason, versus Seth, they work it out, and then he takes whoever wins.
Which is
Exactly.
whatever.
Of course he would. Of course
Of
he would.
course.
He could have said, well, let's all three of us mix it up. But no, Samoa Joe is there to get paid to fight. And that's the end of the story. If he doesn't have to fight, then that's just fine by him. He is literally going to sit back and watch chaos unfold before him.
Yeah. And Seth tells Jason to go get his daddy's approval from somewhere else.
Oh, my gosh.
Jason pushes him, and then we go into a match, and it's Jason versus Seth because you don't do that to the architect. Yeah. So, so with this match, we have Joe sitting ringside with it, just being smug and just being awesome. There were
Look
a
what
lot
I
of
did, he says to himself.
just being a little bit of mastermind there, and I really enjoyed that. But yeah, I felt Jordan was pretty I think we can all agree he's pretty strong when it comes to athletics, and
very agile, too.
Yeah, very agile. I mean, those two Northern Light suplexes,
Roll through,
and that
beautiful.
that bridge was gorgeous.
On the toes, putting as
Yeah.
much pressure as he can on Seth Rollins, really going for that pin. The more pressure you put on your toes, you push your shoulders down onto your opponent, pinning his shoulders down, so he has to kick out even harder. It expends energy on his part, which works in your favor. It tires him out.
Yeah, well, Jordan definitely, read that book for everything. In fact, that and I enjoyed his focus on basically trying to wreck as much in as many places on Seth Rollins' back as possible. Slamming into the barricades, slamming into the turnbuckles, submissions that concentrated on the back. It was very smart, but, Seth Rollins is Seth Rollins.
Right.
CrossFit
Jesus.
Yeah, and CrossFit Jesus did win. I mean, he launched Jordan into Joe, followed up with a super kick on Joe. I loved that. Loved it. And what are we calling this move? Does this move have a name yet? Or are we just calling it the Omega Knee? In any case, lands a solid knee alongside Jason Jordan's face. And yeah, that's it. Seth gets a pin. Then Joe jumps in because he's keeping his promise. And Joe is fresh. Seth is not. This ended quickly. And it seemed like he, as an afterthought, destroyed Jason Jordan on the way up the ramp.
Well, he saw him. He can't just walk away from him. He's like, well, I'm in proximity.
Might as well punch him
Sorry.
in the face, too.
I think it was Booker T called it a love tap. In the business, that's called a love tap. Sure is. I've tapped many people during my time. I plan to tap many, many more.
Oh, that's a claim.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but
We're talking about the ring, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
He is.
All right.
Of course
In
he is. That's
match.
all we're talking about.
Just checking.
That's all we can talk about. Yeah, but I thought that was a heck of a match. They're having Jason Jordan coming along, and speaking of which, we have Kurt backstage, and he's with Seth, Dean, and Jason. And so we're gonna have a 6-man tag team match that's gonna happen. It's
He needs
them
to
versus
tell
the Bar and
Jason needs to just sit down. Like, when you're like a kid, well, I don't know about y'all, but come from like West Indian folks, you can't be whining all that time. Like, you start whining, it's like, I'm not gonna give you what you want. You need to sit down, like, cool your nerves, and then, but it's just so annoying. I feel like just because of the comment we're in, he can't do that, but maybe like 5 years ago or maybe 2 years ago, he could have literally just put him on his knee and just started whipping him with like a switch or something. It's just...
But you have to play the guilt factor. Kurt Angle feels immensely guilty for abandoning.
He didn't
this
know.
Kid.
How's he didn't know?
But even though he did not know, the guilt is still there. It's still present. So he still wants to give Jason Jordan so much, but he can't. Yes, play that fiddle.
And I want to thank Zeno Hour in the chat room for the knee attack. He's like, they should call it the regicide. Regicide.
right.
Regicide.
Sure,
That's
sure.
it. Regicide. So yeah. And if you, I'm sure you already do, but if you don't follow Matt Hardy on Twitter, you need to, because he is hashtag woken. His thing is at Matt Hardy brand, and I'm not even going to try to describe it. Just look at some of his threads. The threads that he retweets himself on because he has more to add. It's fantastic.
Oh gosh.
So, and then we do get a promo from Bray Wyatt. And Bray wants to know, why are you all into Matt Hardy? Is it the laugh, the childish laughter? It's all fun and games until someone gets hurt, and I know how to hurt people. I'll make sure the right people get hurt. Because Bray wants to play, but he doesn't play by the rules. The great war must end. Run.
Oh, I can't wait for this to happen. It's gonna be a good match.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying it.
It's got a
the build.
good, steady build. People
Nice
are
build.
really interested in this. They want to see it. I think Matt Hardy has got more than he can handle in Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt is just as formidable an opponent, both in ring and then methodically using his mind to manipulate his opponents. He's dangerous on every level, and I think Matt Hardy's going to have to work really hard to put away Bray Wyatt and establish himself as woken, truly woken.
I think the opposite. You can't be crazy.
You can't?
No. Crazy.
Can't funnel that.
Yeah,
crazy.
See, the thing with crazy folks is like they're unpredictable. So like just take his tweets for instance. You can't decipher what his tweets are saying, all this other. So you really don't know what's going in his mind. So it's like you get him in the ring and you think like you're thinking, okay, well this is what he's about, but nobody could decipher what he's saying. So I think you can't beat crazy because he might throw out some stuff that you didn't even expect.
So Bray Wyatt may underestimate Matt Hardy.
Exactly.
Yes, I guess the possibility does exist. Yeah. I mean, it's a relatively new incarnation of Matt Hardy, especially to the WWE universe, and Bray Wyatt really doesn't understand what it is yet, and the possibility exists that, yeah, he could fall short in estimating how difficult an opponent Matt Hardy may be.
Yeah, because he did, cause a breakdown. I'm not going to say he broke him, but he caused a breakdown to then bring us to this point. So, yeah, maybe he will underestimate. It's a pretty solid point. So we have Finn, and he's going to be in a 2-on-1 handicap match versus the Miztourage. And I'm wondering, maybe they'll end up another name, later. I enjoyed this this tag team action between the two of them. I thought it was smart. It's like, yeah, pull them into your corner, stomp them to death, have a stomp party, just go at it. It's a shame it didn't work out that way for them. I mean, it was sound on paper.
Right.
What they were trying to do, but
not against it was on the wrong person.
It really was. It really was. I mean, Finn does what Finn does, and they end up just losing their cool and DQing themselves on a 2-on-1 onslaught.
They were really close to losing.
They were very close to losing. I
think they sort of saw the writing on the wall and went, well, we can't necessarily beat him, but we can beat him up.
Yeah, I mean, Finn got to the top rope. He was about to do the coup de grace on Curtis Axel, and Bo Dallas grabs him by the legs. I was just like, what are you doing, dude? Although I will say I did enjoy the showing that both of them did in the ring, even though it was a 2-on-1. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm biased with Bo Dallas anyway, so that's just one of those things.
Do you think we're going to see more of them?
I hope we do. I mean, we definitely can. I mean, we got the revival later on in the night. I'm A-okay with having more tag team buildups. I just feel like we need to have more faces. We need more face tag teams. It feels like we're full with heels right now. Right. I need at least one more.
It's usually the problem anyway.
It's always more fun to be a heel.
Than good guys.
Yeah, but Finn is invited to a stomp party. It's 2-on-1 stomp party, but Hideo Itami then comes out to save Finn, which leads us into a tag team match. Yeah, I didn't set it up enough.
That's fine.
There we go. That's fine. There will be plenty of opportunities later.
Yeah, just
was
play
that
it.
Better late than never. Better late than never.
I think that was Backstreet Boys. Is that the right one? For tag team matches, it's Teddy Long.
Oh, God.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool. We love you, Steven. Thank you.
We'll give you another chance here. Plenty of tag team matches tonight.
10 more chances. Don't even worry about this one. So we have Finn and Hideo versus Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas. It seems like Bo and Curtis try to do the same thing again. It just doesn't really work out for them. What did y'all think about this match? What did you think about Hideo?
Hideo was great.
Yeah.
It's just that I just feel I understand what they're trying to do, but less faces. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like there was so many matches tonight that particular one I could have just did without.
Yeah, I don't think they needed to restart it. I really don't, because the result was essentially the same as the match itself. The Miztourage lost twice over. So it puts them in a difficult spot, and Hideo Itami looked strong enough, but if he came in for the save, kicked ass, hit the go-to-sleep, it would have been exactly the same. I don't think we needed to see him necessarily in ring in a tag team match to really understand what he's all about.
Right.
You send him in, especially with the go to sleep. If he hits the go to sleep,
Nice.
he's gonna get the crowd's attention because that is the move that a lot of people are familiar with, but from another individual. So it's gonna draw their attention. As soon as they see the setup and the execution, they're gonna be like, "Who's this guy? He invented the damn thing. You might want to pay attention."
Oh.
And the thing I like about it is it's a move that it's, I mean, obviously it takes a lot of athleticism and practice to do, but it also looks like something that I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I could pop someone up and hit him in the face with my knee. I got this.
It's deceptively simple. It
Yeah.
does take a lot to actually lift a man and shoot him up, and then there's plenty of stretch needed in your legs to actually connect with your knee, powerful enough to a man's jaw to actually put him out. You gotta follow through. You can't just bring it up halfway and have him drop onto it. That's not gonna be strong enough. You have to drive your knee up and through his chin to the top of his head, and then he's out.
Yeah, like I said, I could do it.
Yeah.
Done
Yeah.
deal.
Practice over the
I don't,
holiday. We'll see
I don't
it in
have
January.
to prove it.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say I can.
In your mind.
In my mind.
Got it.
In my mind, I am like the ultimate street fighter. So yeah, and Hideo gets the pin. So yeah, so added salt to injury. So yeah, salt to the wound. With that, oh yeah, I didn't think about it that way, but yeah, it definitely did kick them when they were down.
Now you lose again.
Yeah.
Bon voyage.
So we're backstage with Renee, and she's interviewing Cedric Alexander. This is right before he goes out to fight Drew Gulak, because it's whoever wins becomes the #1 contender for the Cruiserweight Championship, currently being held by Enzo Amore. So Renee's basically, so are you overlooking Gulak? You know, you have all this other stuff on your mind. And I liked Alexander. I liked his answer. I liked it was an amount of poise and positivity to it. But basically, he has big plans with the second chance, and he'll be overlooking Drew Gulak when he's standing over him in victory. So, some fun wordplay there. And then, oh yeah, Rock is on the he's on the Walk of Fame.
Yes, on Wednesday.
He has a star.
He has a star.
He has a star. I recommend checking out Kevin Hart's Instagram
Oh my gosh.
because there's a little back and forth between the two of them. And it's fun, and also obviously check out The Rock's Instagram. But
Yeah.
those
The Rock's
two,
Instagram with his shirts off. Oh my gosh, amazing. Beautiful thing.
that too. So yeah, that takes us into the match of Drew Gulak versus Cedric Alexander for #1 contender, and it walks out with Enzo. Enzo's got a little bit of his old spark back, you know. Self-proclaimed smack talker Skywalker. He comes out basically as a mouthpiece for Drew Gulak, and so many Star Wars puns. I'm not even gonna try. So many. Drew likening himself to Jar Jar Binks, though. Oh my!
Hey,
that was-
the true hero, Jar Jar
no.
Binks.
The true hero?
I mean,
like the
that's what he said. I'm not saying it.
Oh, because I was
He's
like, what?
saying it. Drew
Yeah.
Gulak, huge fan of Jar Jar Binks. Surprise even to me.
Yeah, Jar Jar
I
Binks
didn't-
is like the worst Sith ever.
Well,
But in any case, he says Enzo's his best friend, and he has, well, basically an epic, you know, PowerPoint presentation for it. But it's interrupted by Cedric, where he comes out, and Cedric just, you know, stellar athleticism. I mean, it's rare that I see a match that he's in that he's not like an MVP, like with it. And I thought this was really great, and I thought he definitely deserved this win. What y'all think?
I think Drew Gulak is an incredible competitor. A lot of people don't understand what he's capable of doing. I mean, he had a lot of answers for Cedric Alexander's offense. Everything that Cedric was able to throw at him, Drew had a way of scouting it, sidestepping it, catching it, turning it into something else. And that is the true mark of Drew Gulak. He talks about reviewing tape, and he does exactly that. He is a student of the game, and he is, as well as an incredible teacher. And that's really, he was the instrument of his own destruction this evening. I think he was really incredibly close to winning. Took his eye off the ball, and that was that.
Yeah, I mean, Alexander ultimately stunned Gulak with a back forearm, then a lumbar check, and just, yeah, he got the pin. I mean, I enjoyed this. Yeah. I did.
I like some Enzo's commentary. He's the BOAT, best of all time.
There you go.
You can't have squares in your circle and be down to roll. My next breath, my next breath is my best breath. Like some of this stuff you can actually just use in real life, just as you're hyping yourself up. Like I love the stuff. And then in like news that we actually talked about TMZ, did you see the signature that he draws as his penis?
Oh wow, what?
His driver's license. You have to sign on your driver's license. His signature looks like a penis.
Oh, fantastic!
Yes.
That is. Oh, that's peak Enzo.
Yes.
That definitely is.
So
I'm not surprised in the
fun
least.
fact.
No, not at all. Yeah, but during the match, Enzo actually started getting on his phone and left, and Drew noticed, even though he was in a match, that probably had something to do with him losing, let's say.
Right. He wanted to impress his friends / employer, depending upon which one of them you would ask. And he got punched and kicked in the face by Cedric Alexander, blood pouring out of the nose, the mouth.
Yes.
He ate it. He ate it, and then he lost with a lumbar check. That's tough.
Yeah, I love that the chat room right now is going through Star Wars things. Like they've made you Chewie, Hobo. You're the Chewie of the show.
I like
Chewbacca.
this. I like
Very
this. I can
nice.
tear a man's arms off. I like that.
Yeah, and Rosenberg has been made Yoda. So that's pretty fun. I like that. All right. So yeah, and that continues on where we have Enzo backstage, and it looks like he got Nia Jax's DM. So she slid into those DMs, and he answered, "Oh yes, this is happening." So Jax wants to finish their conversation, but Drew just shows up.
Cop blocking.
He just shows up.
Well, he wanted to be the first one to let him know I lost. I just want you to know. Blood pouring out of his face, swollen, busted up. She'll be purple tomorrow, but I just want to let you know.
Oh my gosh.
I lost, boss. I lost.
What bro code is if you're seeing like the Mac going on, you can't interrupt the Mac. You have to wait, like no matter, like if you're not dying, it doesn't matter. Like you're good.
Yeah, it's like,
so
no,
he messed up the bro code. Yeah.
I don't think Drew Gulak is
doesn't know
really
bro
up
code?
to code with the bro code.
All right, so maybe we have to tweet him that so he knows what the deal is.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, basically, Enzo explodes on him. He's like, "You did a lot of things wrong, Drew." Basically, everything that you just said, every word that you just said was wrong. Basically. So, and then we have Asuka versus Alicia Fox, and this is a rematch between the Empress of Tomorrow and Foxy. So Foxy will have her rematch because Absolution kind of ruined that for her. And lightning will not strike twice. She's winning this time. This time she's winning. She didn't win. It's like not
She
really.
lost a submissions match to a submission specialist.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. I am shocked. What a travesty.
Yeah, she did land a beautiful Northern Lights suplex, though.
Gorgeous.
That was very gorgeous. It was like picture perfect.
Do you think she'll ever get the belt back?
Oh no. Well, sorry, that was really quick.
That was brutal.
No, I don't mean it like that. I mean that because they have so much other talent that's coming in. I love Alicia Fox. I love what she's doing. I love that she was captain of the women's team in the last pay-per-view. I just don't see them as in creative, like turning it around to where she'll be able to be the women's champion. I think that if they put in a women's tag team division, which they definitely should, especially since we're having the Women's Royal Rumble, I feel like she would definitely hold one of those titles. And maybe further along, there might be like a thing with the women's champion. Well,
she's
after
grown.
Royal Rumble. No. I don't mean, I mean, she brings it.
Okay.
She brings it. I'm not saying anything about her. I'm just saying about, think about how long it took Naomi before she got the belt. I mean, it was 8 years. A while. And it kind of feels like it's not that long, but it's a longer trek for her.
She's losing quite a bit now, and it's harder to get the better opportunities when you're kind of falling down a staircase.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really if she were talking like that on the street, I'd be scared. But it's like the craziness, and I know I heard her personality is aligned to that to extent, but I'm not this phase, I'm not really feeling.
Yeah. I enjoy her as a person, and she's really fun to interview. Like, definitely. She's, like, really pleasant person, like, you know, normally. And I enjoy what they're doing with this. I think it fits with what it is. But I also think that because they have Paige back, and she's crazy too, but she's a different kind of crazy. It's kind of like a more marketable crazy, if that makes any sense.
No, I was going to say it's a money-making crazy.
It's a money-making crazy. So that's the only reason why.
Did you guys hear that interview with Paige and on Lillian's show?
No.
It was amazing. She breaks down everything that's transpired up until her coming back. It was a really amazing interview. So it's on, I forgot what Lillian's show is called, but if you search it, it's going to pop up. Because I think it's her only interview that she did, and it was like an hour and a half. It was a really great interview.
Oh, man, we got to look out for that. I'm going to look out for that after our show's done. So, yeah, it was... basically, Asuka doing a missile drop kick was the beginning of the end for Alicia. Then there was there was like a spinning kick against her head, and submission. Asuka won with the armbar. Like, she locked that in really nice.
Great transition into it too. Really easy step over roll, and just that was it. And before she knew it, Foxy was tapping out.
It was a wrap again.
Yeah, it's tap or snap, and the
always
options
tap.
are clear.
Always tap. Love tap. So there was a sneak peek of Total Divas, and I just wanted to throw that in there because, hey, Total Divas. Like, it had Miz and Maurice.
Oh, my
Wednesdays
God.
at 9.
So much drama.
Yeah, Maurice doesn't eat meat. Miz says, hey, I'll try going veggie if you'll just take one bite. And she does, much to Miz's surprise. And that was just a sneak preview.
You thought it looked good.
No, I hate that meat looked disgusting, one. And I know what you said about meat tasting good, but it's all in the seasoning.
Not even. You do it real light, just a little bit of garlic, a little bit of cracked pepper. That's all you need, really. It's not much to the season.
You can do it without meat.
I couldn't. For what I do, I couldn't do it.
What do you do?
I wrestle men for money.
I know.
Fight men.
There are wrestlers who are vegan as well.
I don't know what kind of black magic they're actually on. I'm on just me. No chemicals, none of that, just me.
You know there's chemicals in the meat, right?
That's beside the point.
Depending on where you get the meat, that is actually true.
Yeah.
And continuing with the chat room, they've made Johnny LaQuasto Luke. Scott Narver is a Sith Lord. He doesn't have a Sith Lord name, but apparently he's a Sith Lord. And Bill is BB-8. Bill Handstock is BB-8. I love that.
I think he will really appreciate that. I'll tell him on Wednesday.
Yeah, please continue casting us in Star Wars. That's awesome. So, and then that brings us to, once again, because, we didn't have enough of them. So, 6 men are coming into the ring, and those 6 men together means that it's going to be
it's the
a tag team match. Okay.
We have dance breaks.
Oh,
We have to have a dance break.
there we go. Yes.
Nice.
Yes, we have Samoa Joe, Sheamus, and Cesaro versus Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Jason Jordan. In a tag team match. So, and actually Seth was going to start, and Jason just kind of, he tags himself in.
He needs to be beaten.
To go up against, well, you know what? It happens. It happens. He learns a quick and hard lesson from Cesaro, from Sheamus first, and then Cesaro, and then Samoa Joe got in there, got like a stomp corner party from Joe.
He looks like his face at one point. He looked like, when your mother tells you not to do something, like stop, like poking at the dog. A dog finally bites you, and you're looking at your mom like, help me, and your mom's looking at you. I already told you, dog. Like,
yeah.
You earned this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of good with this match. I mean, it got to, the crowd was into it too.
I mean, it was double duty for a couple of guys, Jason Jordan, Seth Rollins, their second match of the night. Them thoroughly beating each other up earlier. You'd think that the fresher tag team would actually have an easier time putting away these competitors. I would have to imagine they'd be gassed, but no, they've got fuel for days. They're ready to roll.
Yeah, I mean, Seth Rollins was just, it seemed like it was basically the Seth Rollins show against everybody else. I mean, Dean didn't really get into there until like the very end, and then he ends up getting injured.
He wasn't his best self. He had that arm wrapped up tight all night. I took notice early. I went, well, that's kind of what happens sometimes if you're working so many times in a week. You're just trying to get by without getting too hurt, because you're gonna get hurt eventually, and he got hurt earlier, being at a house show or maybe even television last week, and then tonight he's working hurt, and the hurt gets worse. It upscales itself to an injury potentially, so it's tough. Wrestling is just the art of rolling the dice.
Yeah. And I think my favorite part of the match, though, was when Sheamus did a sneak kick onto Seth Rollins and then did a backbreaker like twice on him. And then after that, he tried to go for a third, and then Seth like pulled that DDT like from his hammer space to then like bestow that upon Sheamus. And I don't know, that was my favorite. That was my favorite moment in it.
It was slick.
It was
real smooth.
It was, the snake was in season with that one. It was really good. But yeah, after Dean gets injured on the outside of the ring, this is when a suicide dive happened with Rollins onto, I believe it was, onto a number of people, including Dean Ambrose. And then Rollins got knocked out with a brogue kick, and then so Cesaro got that pin.
It was kind of a foolish move by Rollins. Like you said, it was the Rollins show.
It was the Rollins show.
I don't think he was paying attention to what his partner was doing, and as a result, he was the cause of the injury to his partner, which led to his loss just moments later in the match.
Yeah, you saw him kind of like facially like checking in with him afterwards, and I was just like, "Ooh, yeah, no, he might be really hurt." Yeah. Like, and then like Jason Jordan got just knocked out of the ring earlier on. So then, and they're still casting us in Star Wars things, but they haven't quite decided what I am. I'm either Rey or Leia, so that's fine. I'll take Rey on that one, because Rey's pretty awesome, and I don't know, she's amazing. Pretty cool. And then they have Ghost as Marker J. Washington. It's interesting. So we go backstage, and a Rolls comes up, and Stephanie McMahon, she steps out. So we're going to get an announcement, and we already know what that announcement is, but at that point, we didn't know. And so backstage, we have Joe in the bar, and they're ambushing Rollins and Ambrose. And, that just happens with... and also smashing Dean's elbow with a road case. That happened too. So Dean is going to be transported to a hospital to get x-rays on that elbow.
I can't imagine they're going to be challenging for the titles anytime soon after that.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing that the bar has them then,
I think they're comfortable with them right about now.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of challengers stepping up. They're very comfortable.
Well, speaking of that, then our next match, the Revival is back. We have Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. They've been out for a number of different things. It was a jaw. It was a jaw injury.
It was
and then
Dash's jaw.
Right.
And then Scott's, what was his knee? I think it was his knee.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. Those are some tough injuries.
Those guys are two of the toughest. They fight like their lives depend on it, and sometimes the pendulum swings back and it catches you. So I think right now, I know Dash Wilder is in fantastic shape. He has not slowed down a bit. Dawson, I'm sure he's mentally as sharp as he has ever been. I am positive he was studying tape. But his strength will have to be proved over time. But Dash is willing to pick up what Scott can't. He is a hoss right now.
Yeah. In fact, he started it off with Rhino, and I was like, really? You want to do that? I mean, Rhino's like 4 people smuggled in a wrestling suit.
Yeah. Just a bunch of people taped together to make one big man. Yeah, pretty much.
Not
a big man.
Yeah, and during this, with the Revival versus Heath Slater and Rhino, Titus Worldwide, they were watching in the back. Dana Brooke is their director of, Director of Statistics.
Yeah.
I believe.
I don't know what those statistics are. Maybe she's... I mean, they said she was good at counting calories. Maybe she's just hanging around catering and writing down what everybody's eating.
Well, in any case, it looks like they're talent scouting. So, I mean, that's kind of what it looked like to me. No?
Scouting talent so much as scouting competition.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
That's probably what they're using her for.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, this wasn't a long match. I mean, but I felt like it was the proper amount of time. You know,
a good introduction.
Exactly. You know, bringing them back into our collective consciousness.
So a reminder at what the Revival does, and they use brilliant ring tactics to single out individuals. In this case, it was Heath Slater, and they were so good at cutting him off from Rhino right when he was about to get that tag the big man in. They were able to, with precision, cut him off from his partner, and as a result, cut him out of the match.
Yeah, really great ring awareness too, and it's just like the two of them work together like a well-oiled machine. Like my favorite part was, well, it was near the end, where Wilder went after Rhino, and then basically Rhino's like, "What are you?" Boop, and then rebounded him into Heath Slater. So then he rolled out of the ring, waited for Rhino's attention to be on the ring, and then snatched his feet out from under him on the apron. I was like, yes.
Yep.
That's how you fight Rhino.
And it's funny you say they function like a well-oiled machine, because their original name was the Mechanics.
Indeed.
Because they did so. They functioned better than any two men possibly could. The Shield included. They are not on their A game, and they haven't been. Despite holding the titles, I think the Revival could eat their lunch any day of the week.
Well, from this match, I say that they're going to give the Bar a run for their money, or a run for their title.
Yeah, the Revival seems more like brawlers, opposed to a lot of everybody else has gotten used to being more finesse. And, you know, it's like, okay, well, we're going to do it like this. And the Revival comes in and it's like, there's no rhyme or reason. We're just going to wreck shit and, you know, essentially tear everybody apart, which is good because you're not used to that. So now you're trying to, you know, cage it in, which is not going to happen.
And Sheamus and Cesaro, the Revival gives up a lot of weight to Sheamus and Cesaro, which I think is going to make them function more intelligently. The Revival are probably the smartest tag team that you could find today because they are undersized. So they have to find ways to use their power in a way that swings it in their favor. They can't just snatch somebody up and slam them.
Right.
They got to do it in such a way as their momentum is feeding into them. Heath Slater, perfect example. Heath Slater was following them and followed them right into the Shatter Machine, and that was the end. It wasn't as though they snatched him up and hit it. He fell into it. It was a well-laid trap.
They just made Maria Menounos George Lucas. I agree with that when she created it all. Very nice. But yeah, the Shatter Machine on Heath Slater for the win. So yeah. So backstage, Rhino and Heath, they get a talking to from Kurt Angle, and I just love it. Heath Slater says, "I got kids. I need this job." And basically, they need to toughen up. And Rhino says he knows how. So, and that's all that we know about that. Well,
there's so many possibilities for that.
So many possibilities.
That's truly scary.
Yeah.
If Rhino is going to toughen you up, I pray for you, Heath Slater. I pray for your soul.
Ooh, talking about soul, we have Elias. He's just a man with a spotlight and a guitar, and he just wants to know who wants to walk with Elias.
Nobody.
Yeah, so with this, I mean, he basically says that Tom Brady says that Elias's music is a soundtrack to his life. You know, he listens to it while he deflates footballs, manipulates rule books. Like, oh, you know, he was just pandering to New England, basically, was what he was doing. But he does confirm that he will be in the Royal Rumble on January 28th. So we know that definitely. And he says his song is dedicated to Roger Goodell. So, but his song is interrupted by Sasha. So she comes out.
Her hair is fierce.
Yes, it's so purple. It's got a really nice purple to it. So I'm just like,
it's so purple.
Stream of consciousness with
she
me
went
tonight.
from pink to purple, but the curls, The curls make her a little bit more like ethnic. Like I like it.
Yeah, I'm okay with
I
that.
like natural hair.
Yeah,
Well,
prefer it a
curls
little bit more
work.
natural.
It's not.
More people should do
You know what?
curls.
Never mind.
I mean, I know.
I was gonna give you the breakdown, but
as long
it's too much.
as it gets a little bit, I wouldn't mind if she came out with a full-blown afro. I would like that.
That would be. I would
But
love
if
to see
we-
that.
it's gonna take time for us to get there from where we are right now.
Yeah, it had a good texture to it. It had
Yeah.
a nice curl pattern. So yeah, and he's interrupted by Sasha, and he's like, "Oh, that's no problem." He continues and interrupted by Mickie James, and then Bailey, and he's like, "You know what? I'm done. I'm good," and refuses a hug from Bailey on the way out. It was just, but he did it with a smile on his face. So, who refuses a hug from Bailey? I would never. So, but we have these 3 women, and of course they're going to be versus another 3 women. And what would be a tag team match?
You know it's the Mac Militant.
Last one I swear. So we have Sasha, Mickie, and Bailey versus the Absolution, which is Paige, Sonya Deville, and Mandy Rose. And we begin with Mickie and Paige to do an early double team with Sasha on Paige. I really enjoyed that. And yeah, with this, it wasn't a long match. It didn't have to be a long match. It really didn't. And basically, Absolution ends up DQing themselves because they do a 2-on-1 onslaught with Mandy and Sonya taking it to town on, I believe it was Sasha at the end. And then it just goes into like a, what's the term? A full Hollybrook? That's a term?
Downingbrook.
Donnybrook? Donnybrook?
Donnybrook.
Donnybrook. A whole Donnybrook. It was a ruckus. There was a ruckus that happened.
True that.
Yeah. And so, yeah, everybody's just tussling. And then, Nia Jax's music hits. Whoa. And she comes out to the ring and she's going after the Absolution. And yes, she does what Nia Jax does, basically.
Wreck shit.
Yeah. She wrecks them.
Good at it.
Paige attacks her from behind, working those pressure points.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah, you have to. You got to go for the knees. Go for the knees, go for the eyes. And then Absolution, invites Nia Jax to their stomp party. And then the Raw Women's locker room all comes for Absolution. So we just have general hell happening in all the corners of the ring. Then Stephanie McMahon's music hits, and she comes out, and it's part inspirational message, part... it's just part, oh my God, we finally get this. She announces that, yes, we will have a women's Royal Rumble on January 28th. And she does this in a way by saying the Divas Revolution began in this ring. The Divas Revolution evolved into the women's division. So that's how we got steel cage matches. That's how we had a women's championship in the Middle East with Alexa and Sasha, where the audience chanted, "This is hope." And she says, it's not enough. We will make history again. And yes, all women's Royal Rumble match will be happening, and that will be kicking off the pay-per-view on January 28th.
Just even like when all the women came from the locker room and seeing them all there, the amount of women, like various shapes and sizes and colors, and like just everybody following their passion is just an amazing thing. And then to announce that for the Royal Rumble, it's it's no longer bikini competitions and pools.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, remember back when Summer Rae would throw things at I forget who it was she was tussling with, but it was milk and kitty litter that she threw at somebody over Fandango. So I'm okay to not be there anymore. It's good that we've evolved, but it seemed like this was a smaller part of the show, and I felt like it should have been a little bit meatier, a little bit bigger.
I wouldn't say it was small. It was positioned in such a way as it closed out the show.
Yeah.
It was the height of everything. It may not be big, but what comes at the end of the show is considered to be the most important part of the show. Yeah. And it had a very important place, and I think it lived up to its importance.
Yeah, I agree. The where it was positioned was fine. I think it's because we had so many matches. Like for some reason, today just seemed like a lot more than usual, and it might have been 1 or 2 more than usual, but it just seemed like a lot more. And I think maybe if they took out maybe 2 of those matches,
actually, it was our usual 6. Wasn't any more than
It
6.
just seemed more.
Maybe it was
Felt like
Yeah,
it.
see,
Yeah.
They went longer. They were doing more segments
it.
per match. Than
Yeah,
they
so
usually
maybe
do.
that was it. I don't know. It just felt a little bit longer, and then it's like you felt exhausted at that point, and now you come in, you try to get inspirational with the speech. It just seemed like there's a lot going on. So the timing of it was perfect. Maybe it's just everything else that was positioned in it.
Interesting. And thank you, chat room. It was Layla that that Summer Rae had the kitty litter and milk thing over Fandango.
I mean, we all have to start from somewhere, but I definitely like the position that we're in now.
Yeah, but this women's Rumble, I mean, this is great. I mean, who do you want in there? You know, I'm guessing they're going to do 20 as opposed to 30, unless they really want to bring some hard hitters back.
Let me tell you, NXT is filled to the brim with talent and female talent that is ready and willing to move up and move out. Right now, they just brought up 5. They could bring up even more than that because they have got to make room for talent that is waiting in the wings to get on television. Even still, like, you could have people in this Rumble from the Performance Center who have yet to see television.
Right.
And it wouldn't harm anybody. Just put them out there. Show people what they can do. There are too many talented people to be hiding down in the Performance Center right now. Give them the platform, and I am sure they will live up to the expectation.
See, here's the thing, though. So we have, sometimes 1 or 2 women's matches, mostly 1 on SmackDown and Raw, right? So now if we bring more women, then we might not be able to get, established characters and actually, gravitate towards the women. So now we just have a bunch of women, and now, people don't feel connected to them, and then those women are going to let go because we don't feel connected to the women. So we're kind of in this position where unless they extend the shows, or I've heard rumors that there might be just a separate women's wrestling, which might be a good idea, but I kind of like the mix of both. So that's kind of where...
If it's anything like 205, they will still feature women's matches on the regular shows.
Right.
But give the women's matches
Their
a
own
specific
platform.
place where they can actually have a more diverse group of talent actually have matches on a regular basis.
Yeah, I know that I want more characters for
Right.
women. I want to see that personal ability that they can put into being something. Like, for instance, you have Dean Ambrose as a lunatic fringe. He rocks it. He rocks it as that. Where's like, I'm not saying that there has to be equivalents of those, but
Right.
as an example, you could have a female lunatic fringe. Like you have Joker, you have Harlequin,
Right.
kind of a thing. So I'm not saying that we need a Harlequin, but I'm saying that genre type of character, like where's our Bray Wyatt or Undertaker
Right.
type of characters? Like you can fill these genres that are people already know them, like they're already relatable.
Somebody said Nikki Cross. That would...
Oh, Nikki
Yeah.
is.
In all caps.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't think characters are in vogue right now. They are not popular. They're slowly becoming more popular. But when I started, I was different enough to be, I don't want to say ostracized, but at least looked on as an oddity. But now it's starting to become the norm. But it's going to take more time. Things in the industry take a while to get into WWE. WWE is always a little bit behind because that's sort of their position. They want to see what people are buying, and then they will make
Right.
something that people will buy. But they first have to see that it is popular enough to make money. And once characters are again a normal thing, then they will start having more characters.
Well, I guess what I really mean then is like, with the Mae Young Classic that, TK and we did that together. And think about with like Jazzy Gabor, where
Right.
it's like she comes off like this ultimate villain. She looks like, I don't know, Bison or something,
Right.
something like that, where it's like, yes, I know this character and she's, hell in the ring also. And I enjoy that. And then you have Kairi Sane, who she's a captain.
Right.
She's glamorous and so cute and spunky, and it's like you have that, and then you have goodness, I'm forgetting her
Bianca
name.
Blair.
It was like the Bailey equivalent. I kept on calling her Dakota.
Yeah.
Where you have like Dakota, and she was from New Zealand, and she just was so earnest and like really good.
See, I think another issue is too with the characters, if the character conflicts with social media. So for instance, you play the villain, but then on your off hours you give the charity. It's like
They don't really care about that anymore. WWE's been playing with that for years. Titus O'Neil at one time was a deep, deep heel, and then they literally had him have a commercial about his mom who had breast cancer, and then they brought him, literally the next thing you saw was him kicking the hell out of somebody. They don't care. They truly don't care. They understand that what's on television is on television, and then what's off of television is off of television.
Right.
They don't mind the separation because they think the audience can keep up at this point.
Right, but then you get more invested when characters or the wrestlers take it into social media and they start going back and forth. Because now, not only you have TV, now they're having a fight on Twitter. So you get more invested in that. So it's just kind of like, I definitely would want, obviously you don't want a character over the top, but I want to see that character throughout. Because if you're going to be a villain, then I want you to be cussing out everybody else via Twitter, because that's going to make me more invested into you.
I think it's up to the performers themselves. Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley are having a feud over social media, and it's really getting a lot of people's attention. So it's up to the performers themselves to bring that aspect to themselves.
Yeah. I just love the conversations that this Women's Royal Rumble is just going to start. And we're already having those conversations now. But we can continue this on social media because, like I said, this is the last Raw After Show of 2017. And our time is up for right this second. So, TK Trinidad, put yourself over.
You can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. Also, I do a lot of charity work. So toy drives for Christmas, you can see that all on my stories for Instagram. I'm also running a marathon for water pumps in Africa. So if you want to donate there, it's going to be my little bio line over there. So everything at TK Trinidad.
Okay, and True Hobo, where can they get you?
At the Twitter and the Instagram at True Hobo. On Wednesday, we have the NXT Team After Show. We're still doing it this week, so far as I know. If, we're all still alive, it'll still be there, right after the show. Be there.
Like we're still alive.
It's the holidays. Anything can happen. Stay safe. It's not safe out there.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Stay safe. If you want to contact me on social media, it's Twitter and Instagram. It's at Markeia McCarty, MarkeiaMcCarty. So most of my streams are already done for this year, but there will be final Marvel movie news tomorrow, including a holiday special that we'll be having along with DC movie news. So look at the Marvel movie news Twitter at Marvel News PTN, and we'll give you all the times and the details with that. But otherwise than that, yeah, I mean, this was a tough year. This was a difficult year, but we got through it. We got through it, and not only that, we thrived. This was a great wrestling, awesome hosts, awesome panel. Yeah, stay safe, and we will see you in 2018, January 8th.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.